then, we often hear these days about the power of positive thinking. Usually this focuses on what it can do for the individual. But now a Russian scientist says it can also benefit the world around us. RT's Sarah Firth looks at the science behind the claims.
Can you directly influence the world around you with just the power of your mind? Although it might sound far-fetched, a leading Russian scientist believes we can do exactly that. And using a device that photographs human energy fields, he's attempting to prove it.
We are developing idea that our consciousness is an active part of our material world. And with our consciousness we can directly influence our world.
To bridge our understanding of the unseen world of energy, scientific experiments are carried out using a technique called bioelectric photography. The assumption is that we're constantly emitting energy. Now, bioelectric photography works to capture this energy field that's seen as a light around the body, or what some people would call your aura. Discovered in the 1930s by Russian inventor Semyon Kirlian, he realized that stimulating a subject with a short electrical impulse, you get a burst of light, of photons and electrons around the subject.
It looks like aura, but I don't like this word because it has some metaphysical meaning. I prefer the word energy field.
The device itself photographs each finger individually, with different fingers responsible for different parts of the body, and feeds the information into a computer to interpret. One supposed benefit of this technique is early diagnosis of serious illnesses like heart disease and cancer, but some who work in the mainstream medical profession remain unconvinced.
From the point of view of today's medicine, I don't think this can be used as medical evidence. And I would even go further and say that it's harmful rather than harmless, as it diverts people from the true causes of their illness and from the truly effective treatment.
And some of the claims in energy field research are even more far-reaching.
With our emotions, with our intentions, we can directly influence our environment, our space. Of course, this idea is absolutely new. That's why it has a lot of criticism still. It has a very important message for all of us, because we demonstrated that positive emotions, they have very strong influence. But the same and even more strong influence has negative emotions. But in one case, energy comes up, in another case, comes down. So it means that if we are developing in ourselves ability to create love, to create positive emotions, we change space around ourselves.
The idea that our personal energy can change the structure of the world around us is viewed by many with deep skepticism. But in the sphere of bioelectric photography, work continues to find scientific proof for the theory. Sarah Firth, RT, St. Petersburg.
If you have wondered for a long time whether the human spirit is indeed real, or a figment of an overactive imagination, thought up thousands of years ago by someone less informed about science than we are today, then Russian scientist Konstantin Korotkov might just have the answer for you. Using a technique first discovered in 1939 by Semyon Kirlian, Korotkov claims to be able to capture the actual moment of the soul leaving the body of dead humans by using bioelectrographic photography, also called electrophotonics, or more colloquially, Kirlian photography, after the gentleman who discovered this much researched topic some 76 years ago. How it works can be explained in fairly simple terms. Based on the principle that Kirlian photography can capture the life energy of a living creature by creating electromagnetically charged fields, and using a gas emission discharge to capture that energy in a process known as gas discharge visualization, or GDV. So the Russian scientist claims to be successfully able to manipulate this process to capture that exact moment when the soul is said to vacate the human body, at the time of death. Interviews, images and video showing the events as Konstantin Korotkov explains them are widely available. This type of photography is mainly used in relation to electric coronal discharges, and measuring various aspects of electricity during its transfer through wires, However, what the Russian scientist, Konstantin Korotkov, is describing in his newfound use for this process is only now possible thanks to the development of new technology. We humans have believed collectively in body and soul since the beginning of time. What Konstantin Korotkov has discovered now has the potential to tell us once and for all that the soul does exist and that the life after death that we hope for throughout life is awaiting us. This is a phenomenally important experiment that must not be dismissed without full and proper research. There are relatively few questions that someone somewhere at some time in history hasn't answered to a greater or lesser extent. However, the question of whether the soul exists within the body can only be answered by visual evidence of the soul vacating the body at the appropriate time. If this can be done, then we have the answer. If not, then we can keep wondering until the inevitable day when we will all find out. What we do know is that Korotkov is an eminent scientist in Russia. He is a provider of a number of courses and seminars all related to GDV and bioelectrography and can easily be considered an expert in his field. For this reason, much credence can be lent to anything said by Dr. Korotkov, but we must also remember that at this stage his claims to be able to capture the soul leaving the dead human body are uncorroborated other than by his own photograph.